The 1970s were a vibrant decade, known for its cultural revolution, technological advancements, and iconic music. But amidst this era of progress, the world faced a major economic shock that reshaped global energy policies and geopolitics forever. This event was the 1973 oil crisis, which I don't think is talked about enough. This event not only caused an economic recession, but also reshaped global policies and geopolitics forever. The immediate trigger for the 1973 oil crisis was the Yom Kippur War. On October 6, 1973, Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israel. In response to Western support for Israel, Arab members of OPEC, which is the organization of the petroleum exporting countries, decided to use oil as a political weapon. On October 17, 1973, OPEC announced an oil embargo targeting the United States and other nations perceived as supporting Israel. This led to a significant reduction in oil exports to these countries. OPEC countries also agreed to cut oil production by 5% per month until their objectives were met, creating a substantial supply shock. They raised the price of oil significantly, causing the price of a barrel of crude oil to nearly quadruple from around $3 to almost $12 per barrel. Milton Friedman, a Nobel Prize-winning economist, said, "The oil crisis was a crisis of regulation, not production. Government intervention distorted the market." Friedman believed that the crisis was primarily caused by regulatory measures such as price controls and restrictions on production, rather than actual shortages of oil. He argued that these controls prevented the market from adjusting naturally to changes in supply and demand. For instance, price controls on oil and gasoline, implemented by many countries including the United States during the 1970s, were intended to protect consumers from rising prices. However, these controls often led to shortages because they discouraged production and investment in the oil industry. Friedman maintained that despite the apparent scarcity, there were adequate oil resources and production capacity to meet the global demand. The true issue lay in how government policies interfere with the distribution and pricing of oil, creating market distortions and worsening the crisis. The oil price shock contributed to a period of stagflation, an economic condition characterized by stagnant growth, high inflation, and high unemployment. Many Western economies experienced a sharp rise in inflation, as the cost of goods and services increased due to higher energy prices. The high cost of oil led to reduced consumer spending and business investment, causing economic growth to slow down or contract in many countries. Oil importing countries faced increased trade deficits as the cost of importing oil surged. This strained national budgets and led to the significant imbalance in international trade. Many countries experienced currency depreciation due to the increased cost of oil imports, exacerbating inflationary pressures. This led to many countries establishing strategic petroleum reserves to mitigate the impact of a future supply disruption. The crisis underscored the economic power of oil-producing countries and led to a shift in geopolitical power. OPEC emerged as a significant player in global economies and politics. The crisis prompted governments and businesses to implement energy conservation measures, such as reducing speed limits and promoting energy-efficient appliances and buildings. The crisis also spurred investment in alternative energy sources, including nuclear, coal, and renewable energy, leading to increased exploration and production of oil in non-OPEC countries. Now, let's consider how the ongoing Israel-Gaza conflict could potentially lead to a situation similar to the 1973 oil crisis. The Middle East remains a critical region for global oil supply, and any major conflict in this area can have significant repercussions in the oil market. If the conflict were to escalate any further, there would be disruptions in oil production and supply routes. This could lead to an increase in oil prices due to fear of supply shortages, much like what happened in 1973. Additionally, countries might respond by increasing their strategic reserves or investing more in alternative energy sources to reduce their dependency on Middle Eastern oil. Geopolitically, we might see shifts in alliances and increased tensions among major powers supporting different sides of the conflict, such as Russia and the United States. This could exacerbate the situation further, potentially leading to a more pronounced economic impact globally. So in conclusion, the 1973 oil crisis had a profound and lasting impacts on the global economy, triggering economic recessions, changing energy policies, and altering the geopolitical landscape. It highlighted the vulnerabilities associated with heavy dependence on a single energy source and underscored the importance of energy diversification and security. The lessons learned from the crisis continue to influence energy and economic policies today. Well, if you made it this far, I want to say thank you for watching the video. This was my first ever video, so I'm welcome to any criticism or critiques y'all got for me. But yeah, if y'all want anything else, I'll record anything else. Any suggestions, just put them down in the comments. I'll be sure to research them and I'll get a video out as soon as possible if I find it interesting. If it's boring, I'm just gonna skip over it and keep scrolling though. So no promises there, but yeah, thanks for watching.